This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics to impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Ali Qureshi. Thank you, Ali, for coming here.
Thank you very much for having me.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do.
Well, I'm in the taking on an entrepreneurial journey these days.
Entrepreneurial journey, which I took a long time ago myself.
Absolutely. I think everybody needs to go through that experience. I've had a fortunate past of working in the public and private sector, and based on the experience that I've gathered and the relationships that I've built, I think it was time to sort of venture out on my own. I mean, you only get to live once.
Venture into the new horizon, experiment new environment.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what is your experience, and you have a startup, so what exactly are you doing with this startup? Tell a little bit about that.
Sure. So it's a classmate of mine from graduate school from the University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business, and I teamed together. We figured that there was a lot of talk these days about innovative technologies and a lot of buzzwords being thrown around. And having spent a lot of time in the public sector and the private sector, I've seen basically all situations. And not all the problems are similar, but they tend to rhyme a lot. So what we're trying to do is get ahead of situations organizations realize that they need to change for the betterment of their business, disrupt themselves.
So you have a startup company?
We do.
What's the name of the company? What does it do?
It's Surdak and...
What's the name?
Surdak and Company.
Surdak and Company. How long have you been in business?
We're in about our third month. And
so you just started?
We're just started. We're fresh.
So who pays your salary?
Well, I've had some advisory work that I've done for some local businesses, but we are very close to closing our first deal. Like I said, entrepreneurship, it's a leap of faith that you take with a certain degree of risk.
You're willing to take a risk.
That's correct.
So this is a 3-month startup company.
That's correct.
And what exactly your mission and objective or goals of this company is? What exactly the services or the product are you going to provide?
So it's strategic consulting services where we are helping decision makers understand the strategic use of certain technologies.
Such as?
Applying, such as analytics or blockchain or social media. Mm-hmm. So for example, we're very close to going through the final stages of a contract with our first customer.
And your customer are mostly the commercial, individual, or the federal government?
It is.
All of the above?
All of the above, not so much the federal government. That's a place that I would love to tap into based on my past. But right now it's mostly in the commercial sector and definitely in the international arena. So we have some client prospects in South America, in the United Arab Emirates with their
UAE?
Government in the UAE.
Now, I'm your customer. Make me a pitch. Why do I want to hire you?
You want to hire us because you want fresh thinking, you want to disrupt yourself, and you want to get ahead of understanding what is the use of the technology. You can find a lot of people that'll come over and tell you need to buy this, and they'll sell you the latest buzzwords and the latest technologies, but not actually tell you what value you're going to extract from that acquisition. So we're here to tell you how that's going to get implemented into your enterprise.
Why do you want to be an entrepreneur?
Why do I? I think it's a self-discovery.
Is entrepreneurship are made or born? They're born.
I think it's a little bit of both. You have to be born with the ability, with a certain amount of grit and a certain amount of courage that you take out. I mean, whether you are working in a company or whether you have your own business, I think you're selling yourself and your services each and every day. When I was in the public sector at the House of Representatives, I had to work with all members of Congress.
So who did you work for?
I was the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer. I worked for all the members of Congress.
Oh, all the members. So you work at the House?
I worked at the House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. But essentially, we had to sell our services every day. Mm-hmm. Our reputation, our credibility, to build a trust. Because at the other end of the table is someone you're trying to help. And the foundation of that is trust. So that's the same element that comes back to entrepreneurship.
So entrepreneurship is the sheer thrill of starting something from scratch.
That's true.
And making it a bigger.
Yes.
Is that what your definition of entrepreneurship is? This is what the Jack Welch told me.
It is.
GE.
It is. Over the last 20 years of my professional career, one of the things that I've really grown accustomed to, having been a technologist by training, I realized that you can have the best technology in the world, you can have the best processes in the world, but at the end of the day, every business is about people. And I think it's about people, getting people to unite around a common goal, a common vision, and help grow an organization to provide value. That's why you exist as a business. As I said, I was a technologist, but... What kind of technology? I'm an engineer by training.
What kind of engineer?
Environmental engineer.
Environmental engineer.
That's where I started my journey in my career. And I quickly realized that Again, whether you're providing technology solutions, again, everything is done at the end of the day to provide value to your customer.
Oh, value to the customer. Added value or just the value?
Added value. You want to leave things a little bit better than you found them?
I guess so. That's the best thing to do.
That is the best thing to
So,
do.
what is your personal brand?
My personal brand is integrity, honesty, and straight talk, as we say. To be able to-
Decency and humility.
Absolutely, absolutely. That goes a long way. As I said, the common foundation that all that leads to is building the trust with the person sitting across the table. And once you establish the trust, and then you can actually help grow and achieve your objectives a lot faster.
So, the leadership. Leaderships are people who have a clear vision, clear
Yes.
values.
Yes.
They're firm but fair. They surround themselves with the people who can help them to, and success in business, in any kind of business, is a team sport.
Absolutely.
You have to have the people who share with your vision and values. You give them some oxygen to breathe, and they will do the wonders.
Absolutely.
Is that what you believe in it? What's your philosophy of leadership?
I think you nailed it right there. It's a team sport at all times. I think it's about being there. A leader is not someone who just stands at the top and barks orders down. A leader is someone who has to gain the trust of the troops, establish the vision that you're trying to grow as an organization or a unit, identify the roles and responsibility everybody has. And when you do that, you establish the credibility and the trust that you need to have. And the journey's never easy. You can script it on paper as best as you want, but at the end of the day, it's improvising, it's navigating through the challenges that are thrown at you, which is where the test of true leadership comes in.
So you're willing to take a risk.
Absolutely. I've excelled in team situations, whether it's in professional or whether it's in sports. I used to be a quarterback in my high school and college football teams. So I've seen it applied in every aspect of life, and that's what I aspire. And my goal now is to help identify leaders everywhere I go, because a leader is not only the person who has the title or the position.
So leader has a positive energy and sense of hope and optimism.
Absolutely. Cautious optimism.
Cautious optimism, not the fear, anger, anxiety.
Well, I think you couch that in the aspect of risk, because there's risks, and that's going to be the friction that you encounter when you're trying to achieve an objective, and just to be mindful of it. So it's not a bad thing, but you have to recognize it and understand how you're going to, as I said before, navigate through it to achieve your objective.
So if people who are walking, who's here in the audience, they want to be an entrepreneur like yourself.
Sure.
They're budding entrepreneur in a sense. What's the advice you will give it to them?
The advice is to really, it's an introspective soul searching that you do, find out where your skills lie, what is that you really are good at, what you believe in, what you're passionate about. Understand that it's not an individual journey by itself. You have to rely on a team. So you have to surround yourself with people that will make you successful. And it's about, again, managing the risk and understanding at what point can you take that plunge if you feel passionate about it, knowing full well that you're either going to succeed or you're going to learn. There's no such thing as failure.
So be the best you can be.
Yes, absolutely.
Explore your fullest potential.
Absolutely.
Now, when you're successful, obviously you give the other people letters of opportunity to succeed.
That's what it's all about.
So what about being a lifelong learner?
Lifelong learning is everything. I mean, this day, you can never stop learning. I think every experience, every encounter, every situation, you always sit back and you try to extract the lesson that you can get out of it. So even this conversation with you and I are having, I'm sure I'm going to come away, as we discussed before, with something to say, wow, I didn't know that, or I learned something new.
So do something special, someone in particular, as Stephen Jobs said before he died.
That's right.
In his commencement address to Stanford University.
That's right. Very powerful address.
Yes.
I have my kids listen to it quite a few times.
So how do you define innovations and creativity? What is the all innovation for the layman is?
Well, innovation, I mean, you pick up any periodical these days or you listen to anybody giving a talk and innovation is being thrown around. It's a very common buzzword. And
so what exactly is it?
To me, I think innovation, sometimes people believe that it's about the latest technology, it's the latest gadget, it's the latest, the flash. Whereas where I think innovation is essentially about a new way of thinking,
New way of doing
a new way of approaching an existing problem or a new problem, but getting outside your comfort zone to make sure you're looking at it with a full perspective. And then defining a path to solve a problem at the end of the day, whether it's with a product or
So
a
think
service.
out of the box.
Yes, in a sense. But thinking out of the box also means you need to be able to step back and look at things from a broader perspective, which means beyond what you know of yourself, which again gets back to the element of surrounding yourself with a team that can help sort of fill in your blind spots. And I think that's very crucial.
Now, question for you. My role model is President John F. Kennedy,
Yes,
who said that to whom much is given, much is expected.
yes,
He was also into arts and culture, where I am also very much focused on arts and culture, because arts and culture inspires you, connects you. Art nourishes the roots of our culture, as President Kennedy said.
absolutely.
So who's your role model? Obviously, you're a business person, you're a startup, you're not that much into philanthropic things and our policy, our politics, but who's your role model and why?
That's a great question. I think John F. Kennedy is certainly somebody I aspire to. I've worked with his family in a business after I left Congress as well. But I think a role model are people that I meet in everyday life. I mean, I would say, my wife, my children, my parents, people that I encounter.
Parents have a lot of impact and influence in your life.
They do have a lot of impact. And again, as I was saying, it's what you take away from every encounter. Sometimes I would have an encounter in a business meeting that I was least expecting it and come away with an opportunity to learn something or take the good qualities of where you can from folks. And I think that sort of aspires. So to answer your question, I don't think there's any one particular role model, but I think across all walks of life, whether it's business or sports or philanthropy or politics, I can name examples of people that I've taken valuable lessons from that you would look up to, and then you would also want to pass on to others.
So you listen and learn from
All the
people?
time, all the time.
So my a question to you is, what exactly do you intend to do when you're successful to serve your community, to serve your country, and also to be engaged in philanthropic or engaged in political engagement? You can make a difference. So what exactly do you want to do?
I think giving
When
back.
you're successful, giving back.
Well, I'll say it that way. I don't think you wait till you're successful to give back. I think it's part of your civic
So it's
duty.
a continuing process.
It's a continuing process. So I
Is that part
dedicate.
of the civic engagement?
It is,
Okay.
and I make it a priority in my life. Whether it's the simple things of coaching, my kids' sports teams,
Sure.
or being involved with my alumni association to
And where did you go to school?
The University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you noticed.
Wharton Business School.
I guess that's a nice place to be.
It is.
It's a good school. So my question to you is, Ali, you have been successful and you continue to strive to be the best you can be, so you are successful. And you are willing to give letters of opportunity for others to succeed, because when they're successful, when you're successful, all of us are successful.
Absolutely.
What exactly the three things you want to tell these young people who want to follow in your footsteps?
Three pieces of advice.
Three pieces.
Three pieces I would give would be, never stop learning.
Never stop learning.
You have to continue.
Now, here's the first thing that young people should do: get a good education.
Absolutely.
Stay in school.
Absolutely. Well, education, again, our higher institutions of learning are definitely a place to learn, but learning goes on beyond that because it's the interactive.
As you know, the dropout in our country
Yes.
for the high school is even 45%.
Right.
So to me, that the first advice that I don't mean to disrupt
No.
you is
Absolutely.
getting a good education.
Yes.
Stay in the school. Education is the gift that keeps on giving.
It does.
Education empowers the mind, uplifts the soul.
Absolutely.
It frees the human mind from the shackles of ignorance.
Exactly.
Do you believe in that?
I believe in it fully, and I think what it teaches you is the discipline and the grit to stay with something and to see it through its completion.
Right.
And that's a great way to start your journey in life, by completing your school.
As President Obama said, education will be the currency of the 21st century.
Yes.
It indeed is. So your advice to the young people are get a good education, stay in school, what else?
I would say, broaden your perspective.
Broaden your perspective.
So you fill in your own blind spots, because you will always have a perspective, but there'll always be somebody that's different in the way they think and they approach situations. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have to learn to respect and understand it to form what the right opinion is. So it's always about doing what's right versus always finding out who's right. So I think if we strive for that type of attitude, you'll always generally find yourself going in the right direction.
Do you believe in a stronger and fairer America?
All the time.
Which is at stake right now? And some people think so, because I don't think so, because I always believe America is a city on a hill, and all the eyes are upon us. Do you believe in inclusive, open, fairer, and a stronger America?
I passionately believe that. It's something I stand behind. I mean, the foundation of this country is unlike any other
Yes.
in history. And, differences of opinion don't shape or will not do anything to dismantle that foundation that exists. But it's incumbent upon each and every citizen of this country to do their part to continue to make America what it is. It's a shining beacon. It's a city on a hill. I think it's a shining beacon
of hope, aspirations, and dream.
Absolutely. And it will always remain that way, irrespective
So you
of.
believe in America's values and vision.
Absolutely. And believing in it, and then you also have to live those values in, day out.
So what do you think of this election? What happened here and where we go from here? Can we seek a common ground? And we should seek a common ground.
We should seek a common ground. But I think what this election has afforded us is an opportunity to look at that there are, as I was saying, other perspectives in life that we need to consider. What is causing the divide in thinking and other areas? So, as I told you, I worked in Congress. I worked at the House of Representatives.
So you have a first-hand experience.
First-hand experience of seeing how the legislative branch works. But, Congress was elected, so they're not going to agree. But you can disagree with someone, but you can disagree with someone with respect, with the intent to find a solution.
Yeah, right.
And I think this country's always, been through all sorts of challenges. And I have no doubt and the utmost confidence that with the new leadership coming in, we'll find a way to sort of right the ship in terms of where we need to go. And, there's some, in an election, there's always a winner and a loser. But that doesn't do anything. We have a peaceful transition of power. And we continue.
That's what the democracy is all about.
That is what the democracy is all about.
So hope lives, hope floats, hope dies last.
Right.
And we must give democracy change a chance.
Exactly.
That's what you believe in it.
I firmly believe it.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your interests outside of work. What else do you do?
There's nothing I don't like to do.
Besides taking care of your wife and kids, I mean, that's important.
I love giving back, as I said.
Giving back. Give me some example of sharing and caring and giving back.
So part of the Wharton Club of DC, which is our alumni association,
Okay.
I've just recently elected to the board, and we provide enhanced programs where we try to bring together people from the public, private, academic, nonprofit sector to discuss themes like innovation and leadership and other areas. And that affords me an opportunity to meet very interesting people with diverse backgrounds. And
so the diversity you believe is a strength. It's not the diversity of the color or creed, religion, race. It's the diversity of the ideas and thoughts.
Yes, diversity and diversity in perspectives.
Exactly.
Because and again, you go in, and when you look at a problem through a multidimensional lens, I think you come away with a much clearer picture of what needs to happen. So I give a lot of time to that. I'm part of other engagements here to really forge sort of a melding between the technology and the government sector to say how can we make the public and private sector work better together. We're very blessed to be in this region in the Northern Virginia area or the DC metropolitan area.
Right.
Overall. So how do we get that working better? Again, everything is going towards, to your point, added value, right? Added value to make sure we can make lives better across all different sectors.
So if I interview you 2 years from now, 3 years from now, what would you like to be then? What should your legacy should be? In addition to that question that I asked.
Legacy should be someone who has helped grow leaders along the way, not at the end of the 3-year journey when I have achieved my goals is when I start thinking about it, is as I've worked through, not only have I achieved my goals, but I've helped others understand what success is like.
You want to create more as Ali Qureshis.
Absolutely. I would love
more
to.
of them.
And serve as a mentor. I mean, that's something I love.
As
as a mentor and coach. I thoroughly enjoy doing
So
that.
what's the last word that you want to give it to the audience, Ali? A lot of people are inspired by your story, by your journey, and how they can find a destiny.
I would say just follow your passion. I mean, there's three things I would say is, your passion, your compassion for other people and other perspectives. And I think then it's the discipline to make sure that you do the things that you want every day. You want to end every day saying, what did I do to make myself better to drive towards where I want to go?
Very good.
And that's the key to success, I believe.
Key to success. So success teaches you how to move forward, but the failure teaches you never to go backward.
And I don't believe in the word failure. I think
That's exactly
it's
right.
learning. It's all about learning. So when you don't achieve something, you always go back. As I say, you lick your wounds, you dust yourself off, and you figure out, okay, this didn't work.
Pick up the pieces, move on.
Now what do I need to do to kind of move in the right direction again?
Okay. Thank you very much, Ali, for coming here.
Thank you very much for having
Thank you very
me.
much for your service to our community, to our country, and keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you.
This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you for watching.